The Obama White House announcement on Thursday that President Obama is going to leave more troops in Afghanistan than he had planned to ought to serve as a cautionary tale for all those people running for president in 2016. Here's why. What the president had to say on Thursday was that, contrary to his plans to essentially draw all U.S. combat troops out of Afghanistan by the end of his term and leave behind only a token force of about 1,000 in the Afghan capital, he's going to leave about 5,500, including people who are going to be further afield, in acknowledgement that the war isn't over and the U.S. involvement in that war against the Taliban is not over either. This is one of three big promises, really, that the president had hoped to keep by the end of his term. Hasn't really been able to make good on any of them. One is to get fully out of Afghanistan. One is to get fully out of Iraq. I mean, there's kind of a sucking sound pulling the U.S. back into Iraq because the situation on the ground has not stabilized sufficiently. And the third was to close the military prison in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, the one that's being used for terror suspects. I think that this ought to say to presidential candidates now, be a little modest in the promises that you make. Which areas might they overpromise? Well, I think the fight against Islamic State, the war in Syria, and the Russian presence in Ukraine. I think it's probably good for presidential candidates to be a little bit modest now about what they think they can accomplish, because making clean breaks and sharp changes in foreign policy is not as easy as it sounds on the campaign trail. So better not to make promises now that will look equally awkward 4 or 8 years from now.